Good morning, Panther fans. So, a couple of things. I just took my niacin, so that's why I'm going to turn all sorts of red and purple during this video. Second thing is, I haven't progressed from the mood I was in last night. I'm trying to read the comments in the recap that you guys left. I end up crying each time, so I just keep closing out YouTube. And just wanted to thank everybody for the full year of support. It has been one effed up M&F and ride from beginning to end, from Reeds to Kachuk, to me delusionally believing that this team was going to finish this off. Just thank you all for the support. Thanks to all the new subscribers. And I'll have a video out probably tomorrow. I'm going fishing with the boys this afternoon. So I think I'm going to wrap things up tomorrow instead of today because I'm not in a great space. It's just gonna be the same sad shit all over again. So I'll wait to wrap that up tomorrow. And in that video tomorrow, I will give you guys an idea of what to expect over the summer with the schedule, etc. etc. So with that, good morning, Stu.
Morning, Eric. A lot of thoughts going through my head. Obviously disappointed, but no, I won't say but. Here's what I'm thinking. This series reminded me so much in '96. Just think about it. In '96, we beat the Bruins, Ray Bourque. We beat Eric Lindros and the Flyers. We beat Yager and Lemieux. Tough series. And what happened? We just ran out of gas against Colorado, which, they had Forsberg and Sakic and Patrick Waugh.
Right.
So that's one thing. Before the series started, I said keys to the series: goaltending, mistakes. What else? Penalties. Anyway, I think the Panthers, and they said it on air last night, that we ran out of gas. And this is not going to be any bashing of anybody, any negativity, because I flipped out when I found out last night Ekblad was playing on a broken foot.
Yeah.
Gudis had a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chucky broke his sternum with that hit. And one piece of the puzzle that was missing was Lusterinen.
Yeah.
And you can see how important he is to the team. So hats off to Vegas. Much better team. I think if anything was proven in that game last night, we have to get bigger and tougher on defense. They manhandled our defense. Mahura, oh my God. Every time somebody checked, he lost the puck. I mean, every one of our defensemen got burned. We made so many mistakes in this series that led to goal. Look at the goal, the first goal in Game 4. Stevenson, Ekblad goes off and they change lines and breakaway, 5-hole. Last night, the shorty, our power play went 0 for 14. So if you add that to the Tampa series, which was what, 0 for 34, something like that,
It was bad.
we scored no goals. I mean, no power play goals. You're not going to win. So I mean, there's so many factors, and you said it so many times when it comes to Bob that Bob could be good for whatever 3-4 games, but when he's got a workload like he did when he took over, Bob looked so exhausted last night. He just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
some of those, like the Stone, the second goal where he had it and then it just flittered behind him.
Right.
So I mean, there's so many factors, but you got to give it to Vegas, and it just it's cringing. And I knew, and I said it before the series started that Marchessault and Riley Smith had a big chip on their shoulder for Dale Talon making the biggest blunders in Panther history, saving Petrovic and letting Riley Smith and Marchessault, who scored 30 goals, just let him go. And Marchessault has been the number one Panther killer for Vegas. Always. We have not won a game in Las Vegas in 6 years. So I also talked about the Vegas defensive core, which they were all around 6'2", 6'3", 240
Right.
pounds. You could see that our forecheck didn't work on those guys, and they played smart. It just was so much a better team. It's sad that we got routed last night, but you could see the fight after the second goal. You could I just knew they weren't coming back. I mean, the fight was, they just like surrendered. But nobody, listen, earlier in the year when we were horrible, you and I were talking, let's trade Ekblad, let's trade Bob. We suck, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. Stall suck. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that we weren't even, we shouldn't even have been in the playoffs. If Pittsburgh wins a couple of games, we're not in. So we got in
Right.
and we just had a miraculous run. And like I said, it just parallels 96 that we made it to the finals. And yeah, I also thought about, maybe they shouldn't have touched the trophy when they won the Eastern Conference thing.
I mean,
I'm just,
Tampa did
I'm
it.
just,
Washington did it.
I'm
I
giving you,
mean,
I'm giving you stream of consciousness. So,
I know.
okay,
I know.
so we lost. So where do we go from here? That I think should be a big part of the conversation because we can. I mean, everybody saw what happened last night. Vegas was on a mission and they wanted it more, but I think the physical, the toll that the three series took on us, and Marie said,
Well, and
oh, oh,
and and that's the thing. To your point, is when your talent level. Let's face it. On paper, all those teams are better than us.
yeah, we beat
Especially
we beat
right.
one. Okay, we beat 2 and 4
Yeah. So
in the league.
the energy that you have to expend to be the underdog and make the run, which is great and fantastic and all of that, but then you run up against like we went up against Colorado or we run up against Vegas, who I'm not saying they had an easier time, but they had an easier time because their talent level was better than the teams they were playing all three series. So I mean, look at the games, Dallas, when I watched every minute of that series, and Vegas was just toying with them. When Vegas decided, all right, I guess, and I was thinking about this morning, looking at it in a block of time. If I was Bill Zito right now, I would just be tying the rope because this this started this started when we had the bigger, stronger defense. We went analytical. We got rid of Gallant. Then we decided, oh, that sucked. We're going to go back to trying to go with Talon and have some size. So we're going to keep Bukestad and Petrovic instead of Marchessault and Smith. And then we went and 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 that didn't work. So then we went, okay, we're going to go run and gun. And then, okay, that didn't work. And now there's this year. And the guys that are beating us are the guys that we got rid of all the way back at the start. And we're still in this zone where it's just kind of like we don't have enough offensive talent to completely overwhelm somebody, and we don't have the defensive size to overwhelm anybody. So it's like it's just this constant reboot of the little engine, the little train that could. And the thing that we could have used in this series, the irony of all of it is just a little bit of that coming in waves with the run and gun that we had last year on offense. Because I know Maurice has said our problem isn't scoring goals in this series. Um, it was scoring goals in this series. We scored two every game except for last night in garbage time and in overtime. And I don't like Kyle last night. He's asking me, can we replicate this? Can we replicate a run like this? And no, because we're not going to be underdog again. Number one, and oh, we just lost Stu. Stu is just gone. Let's see. I wonder if his internet just went out on him. Let's see. I wonder if I've got a text. That was weird. Mid? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see if he can come back. He's just gone. Just well, the point I was trying to finish was in many ways we're still trying to figure out how we're going to finish this off and how we're going to win with this core. And that's not a knock on the core. I just are we going to be going with quicker puck moving defensemen? Are we going to be going with bigger guys? And we're I mean like Ekblad's our biggest defenseman, but he's not exactly physical. And then of course we find out everybody's playing hurt last night. And okay, so Stu lost his internet. So it's apropos. We just couldn't finish the last video. We couldn't finish the last series. We couldn't finish the last video. Maybe Stu will make one last hurrah comeback here at the end. But the irony of this all circling back to Marchessault and Smith, and I know that's not the only reason why. I grasp that. But come on now. I mean, I got a video on the channel. I put it out again too. I did. I put something about it. I remade it. Destroying that jar of marshmallow fluff when we got rid of Marchessault. And he just won the Conn Smythe against us in the Cup Finals. Now, for everybody that said to let it go, it's like, come on now, come on now. I'm not saying we would have won if we kept Marchessault, but at the same point, you know, um, we said bye bye, and here comes Stu.
Sorry about
Uh,
that.
that's okay. It's. And I was just talking about how it definitely was apropos for the last video of the year to go that way after the last series of the year. But my main point with all of that was that Zito has a job to do. Last year we were running gun and puck moving, and this year I don't even know if he knows which direction to go get players.
And do we have the cap space? One thing that I noticed about Vegas, and I don't know how they did it, but they get Petrangelo, they get Alex Martinez. They got a couple years ago. They get Barbashev this year.
Yeah.
But there's two big things that Zito has to work on. I think that fourth line of Vegas was incredible. Did so much damage. I mean, I'm going to mispronounce the guy's name, but Korlov, no, it's the guy that hit Kachuk, that put Kachuk out of the
Kolazar.
game.
Kolazar.
Kolazar, he was a beast, man. Carrier, that fourth line. So that's depth. So we got to work on our depth because I mean, if Lusteranen's in the game, then we got pretty much good three lines. But our fourth line was.
Right. Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
main focus for Zito should be our defense. Do you want to call our defense soft? I don't know. But if you compare the Vegas defense to our defense, night and day. So
Well.
I don't think we're going to win with a 40-year-old Mark Stahl. As
Right.
much as I love Gudis, he's also late 30s.
Right.
Um, Forsling, Montour, Ekblad, we're
See,
not going to be able.
we're kind of stuck in which direction to go
Yep,
because Ekblad and that contract, and we can't move him, and
that's what I was going to say. We can't
when
move
you,
him.
he's not necessarily the singular problem, but in concert with the other defenders that we do have, it's like you don't want to get rid of Forsling and Montour, but they need contracts. But you got to pay. You're already paying Ekblad, so then I mean, you look at the guys that we have, whether it be O'Hara, Kiersted, Carlson. They are not huge, big guys. They're quicker, puck moving type of guys, which is what we were developing up until this year.
But
So
we've
I mean,
always done that. Brian Campbell, Yandel. We've
right,
never had Eric Gabranson, as bad as
right.
he might have been. Eric Gabranson was a tough big guy.
Right. Well, and that's the point.
Even Kulikov.
Right. Well, yeah, and so the irony of it just being all the same type of intersecting issues lining up again. Uh, Zito's got his work cut out for him, and we don't know. God, we don't know. I mean, we don't know what we got at backup goalie, and I mean, Bubba. I love Bubba. He played his mind out, but now he's going to be 35. I mean, you know, you start getting to a point where, so it's, there's part of me that's still in disbelief that it went this way, and I look at the roster and it's like, well, we don't know exactly what would have happened, but I mean, who knows how many injuries Vegas has as well. You know what I mean?
Well, you got to think that they have him because they blocked an awful, not awful. They
Right,
blocked a hell of a lot of shots of ours.
right, right, right.
So you got you got to
Yeah,
think that they got a lot of bumps. They got a lot of bruises on them. But that
yeah,
was another thing that I was going to say. The power play. I mean, you can't win the cup without the power. Without that, Vegas went 6 for 19.
yeah, yeah,
That in the 30 percentile.
yeah.
So
So
listen, it was a great run.
yeah,
Like I said, I can't be negative today because nobody expected us to get in there, and we're down 3-1 of the Bruins, and nobody expected us to come back. Not everyone, but majority of our games were 1-goal games. And how many overtime games did we win?
right,
It could have
right,
went either way.
right. Well, 3 or 4 of them against Carolina were overtime.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say we were lucky, I mean, we were lucky to get in because who would have ever thunk that Pittsburgh would just implode at the end of the year?
Right.
And so, but I'm more concerned about getting back, and I'm more concerned about the players that we have. And let's face it, we're not going to do it with Colin White. We're not going to
Well,
do it.
no,
We're not going to
the
do it with Nick Cousins. We're not going to do it with Giovanni Smith. I mean, we
right.
gotta.
Dolpe.
We don't really have, and the thing that really sucks is we really don't have a player development program. You tell me one guy, Dalpe. You tell me one guy that we have in the minors that is going to be, NHL caliber. And I know you like Denisenko, but Denisenko was invisible last night. So we don't have any draft picks. So Zito, the magician, is going to have to find some players. And I don't know, after the Forsling Montour contracts, where is it? Is he going to have enough money? Yeah, maybe he just has to find some young guys that are big. I'm talking, 6'4", 6'5", 240 that can skate and that are not going to cost them, five,
Well,
6 million.
it's this to me circles all the way back, and you know, if he's going to go after, I mean, we have some money, but we don't have as much as people think. And when I look at the need to re-sign Forsling and Montour, and Lundell's going to need a contract, and Lutz Ryan's going to need a contract, and we only have Verhage for 2 more years, and I start looking at some of those other contracts, um, I don't see how we continue to pay Sam Reinhart $6.5 million, considering the return we could get for him. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean, I'm not, I don't want anybody to think I'm bashing Reinhardt or anything like that. But there's not enough numbers wise. All of the guys that we want to keep, just get used to it now. We can't keep them all and upgrade in the positions that we need to upgrade.
Yep,
So somebody is going to go.
yep,
Just there's no way around that. You can't pay Barkov, Kachuk, and Bob that much money and not have it affect somewhere else. Somebody's going to have to go, and I suspect that that'll be Reinhardt. Um, Although Maurice loves the guy, so who knows? Who knows where that's going to go?
yeah. But
Um,
if we can trade Reinhardt, and I love the guy too, to get a young defenseman that might make
right,
2 million,
right.
but he might be. And I mean, it's so evident that we need to get bigger and stronger on defense. I mean,
Right.
again, that was David and Goliath
Yeah.
in this series. The Vegas defense, our forecheck is like I was watching Lombard run around and trying to hit the guys through the board. He bounced off these guys. Am I right?
Yeah.
Almost every one of our forecheckers. I mean, even Chucky. It just even Bennett. I mean, these guys just took the hits and like it was nothing.
Right. Right.
So
And we didn't have any answer. We just
we
didn't
didn't
have
have
any
any.
answers.
And on top of all of that, we had Aiden Hill play out of his mind. Did you see that save he made on Duclair? That was Vezina Bob. That's what Bob was doing in the
Right.
series. So
Yeah.
there again, that's the hot goaltending, defensive mistakes, special teams. Those three
Yeah.
things. Vegas had everything going for them. So
Yeah.
I really thought they could have. Listen, they could have been swept, and maybe if not for that overtime goal in Game 3, that I,
Right.
Vegas probably is like kicking themselves that it didn't sweep. But I
No,
also,
I'm sure they're happy they won it at home.
yeah, I'm sure you're right. But listen, that 10-day layoff, it really affected us.
Yeah, well,
Not that we were rusty. I just think we were a locomotive going 100 miles an hour, and we pulled into the station, had 10 days off, and then we never got back up to speed.
right, right. I mean, there's part to that, but then you think about all the injuries that we had, and you wonder how bad it would have been had we not had those 10 days off to rest some of those guys.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
Maury said a lot of those injuries happened in the Boston series. I mean,
Right,
when I heard Ekblad was playing with a broken foot and he popped his shoulder out twice, that
right.
kind of now makes sense to me why he was so slow and why he was, I don't know.
No,
And
I know.
Gudis with a high ankle sprain. I mean,
Right,
I thought the guy might have been playing with like a recovering from a concussion because
right,
that
right,
hit that
right,
he took, you know, I don't even remember Barbashev. Hit that he took that was a hit to the head.
right.
So listen, again, I come back and say we're the Eastern Conference champs. We were the President's Trophy winner last year.
Right.
I'd like to see, I'd like to think that we could get back, but unless Zito pulls another couple of rabbits out of his hat, I don't see it.
Well, there's a lot of questions. We don't can't even begin to sit here and wonder which direction he's going to go. There's a lot behind the scenes that we don't know. You know what I mean?
Spencer
And
Knight,
Spencer Knight, that's the biggest thing. I mean, and I'm not saying this. I'm not being critical, but if he's in the if he's in the player assistance program, and then he's at the Kentucky Derby just hanging out, if 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 by that measure you would think, okay, he's okay enough to where we should have heard something, right? It's not like he's in some secret treatment program where everything's. I mean, he's out and wearing his Sunday best, and we haven't heard anything. There's something fishy going on, man. What the hell's going on? I mean, and when are they going to tell us? I guess that's the biggest thing. Is like, okay, he's out and about in public, and we just gonna what's going on, man? Does he not want to play? What's going on? I'm
4.5 million.
and
We sure
that's
could
the
use
thing,
that.
right?
And
Right?
now we have a backup who's a UFA who's probably going to get a really good contract somewhere else.
Yeah. No, it's but there's so you know why there's so many issues because we weren't supposed to be here in the first place. You know what I mean? Ah,
But I like how did you watch the post game on TNT?
no, I was busy
So
shaving.
Gretzky, Paul Bissonnette, they all had such praise for the Panthers, um, and that was nice. That they gave us some props about how we got to the finals, and that the players shouldn't have their heads down. They should have their heads up that they really accomplished something. I mean, listen, we were so out of it. We were like, what, 12 points out at
Yeah,
some
we're like
point?
12. Yeah, yeah.
And then we just got on a tear. But it was an up and down season for sure. A lot of
Yeah.
twists and turns and
It's
ups and
just,
downs.
when you when you look at it like you'd be writing a story. You know what I mean? That you couldn't have written me this. You couldn't have sold me this ending. To for everything that had to happen for us to get there. There's no script that says we lose that series.
And the way
And
we
that
lost it, think about it. There were 3 games where we pretty much got blown out.
Right.
I don't know if the 5-2 win is a blowout, but
I think the
I
fifth
mean,
was a right.
the first two games. I mean, the first game we were in it after two, but
That was 2-2 after two. Yeah.
that
Yep.
third period we were flat,
Yep.
and Vegas wasn't. The second game
Yep.
was a blowout,
Yep.
and then
Game three is we're
we
gonna be
won in
showing.
overtime, and then obviously game four we didn't bring it, and then last night you can't go down 3-0, even though we got
Right.
2 goals in game four.
Right.
You know, if they had kept it at 2-0, but you can't go 3-0
Right.
and kind of sort of going into the third. And I mean, they did it so many times, the comeback cats, whatever, but not against Vegas. So anyway,
Yeah.
is what it is. It was a very unusual season.
I'm exhausted. I am utterly every E, physically, emotionally, spirit, all of the E's, everything that you can have with an E at the end of it, I'm exhausted. So that's gonna do it for this year. And like I said, I got to do the podcast. Shit, I have I have a podcast that I do Monday through Friday for members. So I will be back one more time today, and then I'm gonna go. We're gonna get on the. We got the kayaks ready. It's gonna be 75 degrees. The tide is gonna be right. So we'll be out there fishing all afternoon. And then I'm gonna come home and I'm just gonna ingest enough substances so I fall asleep. And I don't know how long I'll sleep after that. And then tomorrow I'll go down to the recap room and wrap this year up, hopefully in a little bit of a better frame of mind than this. I still don't believe it's real, but it's real. It's it's funny because that's how this whole thing started with me talking about the Kachuk trade, going, I can't believe this is real, but it's real. And so that'll do it. All right. Appreciate all the support. By the way, if you're still watching this video, we're at 6,980 something subscribers. We almost got to 7,000 last night when I asked people to subscribe on the stream. And then after the game, I guess people that only subscribed for the finals, I sat there and in 5 minutes, I watched myself lose 14 subscribers. So we're back under 7,000 again. So if you're still watching this, I probably only need 20 people who are still watching that are not subscribed to hit the subscribe button so I can at least have gotten to 7,000 this season because this is it. All right. Appreciate all the support and we will see you again around soon.